he has 4 more jumps to improve.
Well, coming up on the track will be Michael Johnson, combining the 200 and the 400. There's no question he's causing some age-old track axioms to be re-examined. He came from nowhere to become one of the world's most unique athletes. Waco, Texas, a long way from just about anywhere. Cattle country. Most things in this part of the world move slow and easy. Most things. Not Michael Johnson.
I always wanted to go fast. I've always enjoyed speed. There's just no feeling like it.
You're unbelievable.
Johnson is unbelievable, ranked #1 in the world in the 200 and 400. That's never been done before.
You're unbelievable.
With finally an injury-free year in 1990, Johnson showed the world he's unique. In the 200, a sprinter's race, he was only beaten once. And he was unbeaten in the 400, a race of endurance. It's unheard of to be the best in both, yet Johnson clearly is Track and Field's Athlete of the Year.
I'm doing something that hasn't been done before. It makes me feel like I'm making a real impact and I'm making my mark and I'll be remembered for something.
Johnson will be remembered with an unorthodox running style. Very little knee lift and his upper body thrown back rather than leaning forward.
I think that anyone will run best in their natural mode of running, whatever comes natural to them. That's the way they're going to feel most comfortable. And the way that I feel most comfortable is running the way that I run. I'm not really sure what it is that makes me look different from everybody else. You know, I admit that it does look different. And it looks kind of funny, but it's getting me there fast, so.
And yet, as good as Michael Johnson is, he won't be on America's 4x400 meter relay team at the World Championships. Scheduling there prevents a runner from doubling in the 200 and 400. Johnson had to pick one. He chose the 200, so he won't run the 400 here. But the U.S. coaches say the 4x400 relay team will be made up of the top 4 finishers today. That means the #1 400-meter man in the world won't be there when they run the relay.
It seems to me that the people that should be on the mile relay are those that run the quarter, that have experience running quarter, that laid it on the line that particular day to make the team.
Last year I was the best in the world in the 400. I feel that this year, even if I didn't concentrate on it, I'd be in the top 4. So that's saying if I only run the 200, then they're not going to have the best 4 guys on it. They're going to have the best 3 guys and then somebody else.
Critics say the U.S. can't take the chance of not having Johnson in the event. They point to the World Indoor Championships this past March. The Americans were beaten in the 4x400 meter relay, a rare loss in an event the U.S. typically dominates.
I'm not so naive to think that, you know, if I feel that without him we're not going to win, then I would put him in. But if I felt that we could win very well without him, then I wouldn't put him in.
You're going to have 4 guys on the 4x4 that just ran 3 rounds of the quarter. You're going to have me, one of the best 400-meter runners in the world, if not the best, sitting over there who's only run 3 rounds of a 200 and ran them before the guys who ran the 400. So who's going to be fresh? I am, but it's not going to do any good because I'm going to be sitting over in the stands watching those other 4 guys.
Michael Johnson, recently on the cover of Sports Illustrated, #1 in the world, both the 200 and the 400, but he can't compete in the 400. Willie, what's your thought on that?
Well, the World Championships are late in the summer, and I'll tell you, Tom, I wouldn't want to be the 4th man on that relay team come September.
Michael Johnson, best in the world in this event, but Leroy Burrell, fresh from a world record performance here yesterday in the 100 meters, which you'll see later today, has issued a challenge in the media to Michael Johnson. He's the only man to defeat Johnson. That occurred last year. The only loss Johnson suffered in 1990. He was unbeaten in the 400, beaten once in the 200 by this man, Leroy Burrell, and he has said in the papers that he is out to get Johnson this year. What do you think, Willie?
Leroy looked very drained. It's probably from that world record he ran yesterday, the last qualifier in his semifinal heat. I think that Leroy has a lot to do in this race.
Well, Leroy's getting his game face on. As you look at the world record and the American records, co-holders Lewis and DeLoach. The men's 200-meter figures to be a Johnson-Burrell battle, but there are some other talented sprinters in the field. Here's the way they'll line up. Jett in lane 1, Jefferson 2, Mitchell 3, Johnson in 4, Hurd 5, Marsh 6, Burrell in 7, a little bit on the outside after a subpar qualifier earlier today, and Brownskill on the outside in lane 8.
What?
Away from first place.
It appeared that Floyd Hurd in lane 5 broke early.
Well, I'll tell you what, with a guy like Michael Johnson behind me, I'd be a little bit nervous too.
Floyd Hurd in lane 5, right next door to that man, Michael Johnson. Hurd, a member of the Santa Monica Track Club and a teammate of Leroy Burrell. And there you see it easily. Just with a naked eye, you could spot that one. Floyd Hurd away early.
Michael Johnson has a definite advantage being able to key off the Santa Monica gang, including Burrell.
What does it do to your concentration after a false start? You saw the game faces as they got ready to enter the blocks with Johnson and Burrell, and then suddenly a false start. Does that disrupt your concentration?
It certainly does.
So now they try to regain their focus. That's Burrell. Blazed to a world record in the 100 yesterday. Can he carry that blazing speed to the 200? He says he can. The man he'll have to beat in lane 4, number 1 ranked, Michael Johnson. Johnson, lane 4. Burrell, lane 7. Burrell gaining quickly. He's gained the stagger. They come to the straightaway. Burrell on the outside. Johnson in the middle of the track. Floyd Hurd right there, too. Michael Johnson has the lead. Burrell on the outside. Cutting to the wire. It's Johnson. Michael Johnson gets it. Hurd second. Burrell third.
20.31. Not as fast as he ran in the semifinals, but Michael Johnson looked awfully good.
Michael Johnson remains number 1 in the world, defeating an outstanding field in the 200 and running into a headwind in this case.
As we look at him coming off the turn, the key to the 200 meters, the acceleration onto the straightaway. Leroy Burrell looked very good coming off that turn, but he started to falter later on in the race. Michael Johnson, with that typical upright style and that low knee lift, powers away from the rest of the field at the last 30 or 40 meters with Leroy Burrell trying to come back.
And Burrell might have gotten the nod, leaning in to get second over his teammate Floyd Hurd.
Michael Johnson with, like I said, that trademark style, that low knee lift, doesn't make the stag up very well, doesn't run the turn up probably as well as he would like to have, but he comes off the turn in good fashion, defeating Floyd Hurd and Mike Marsh. There's Leroy Burrell on the outside, but Michael Johnson just powers away all the way to the tape.
Michael Johnson still perhaps lacking a little experience in running the curve that's so vital in the 200 meters, but learning with every outing, and it's hard to fault his performance, losing only once last year and here taking the American National Championship. Unofficially, Michael Johnson has the men's 200 meters running against a headwind. He's timed in 20.31. Burrell just got a nod in front of Hurd at the tape to take second as Hurd settles for the 3rd spot. We'll be back.